Today we are looking at how you could fine-tune a model in GPT-3. This video might be a bit longer than usual, but I think it's necessary. I know this might not be for everyone, but I think you could greatly benefit from learning about this because I see a lot of implications in large language models in the next few years. So anyway, I think we can just get going. So let's start by looking at what we actually are going to do today to fine-tune our model. You have to excuse me, I'm a bit sick, but I think it's going to be okay. So the first thing we have to do is create our desired output with a good prompt. So the thing about fine-tuning is you are basically trying to create a consistent output that meets our criteria every single time. So when you run a model, you really want the same format output every time. That could be length, that could be how the text is structured. Is it a list? We're gonna have a look at that. But to do fine-tuning, you need some data. So what actually I'm gonna do is create a whole bunch of synthetic data so we can use for fine-tuning. We're gonna go over that. And number 3 is augmenting our synthetic data. So basically you don't want to use everything is about the training sets or the data training sets. So what you don't want to do is use bad data in your model, because that really hurts your model. That doesn't make it perform. So I'm gonna show you one easy way you can augment your synthetic data. And of course this applies to real data too. It's really important that it is good quality. The next step we have to do is prepare a JSON file for fine-tuning, because when we are gonna upload our model, it has to be in this format, JSON. Then we're gonna show you how you can upload your file, and finally we are gonna test out our fine-tuned model. So what we are hoping for when we are doing our testing is that we get consistent results. So basically the overarching job for a fine-tuned model is to perform a consistent output, so we don't spend time or money on redoing the same thing to try to get a good output. We're gonna talk a bit more about that, but that is the plan for our fine-tuned model from GPT-3. So now let's go and have a look at our prompt. Okay, so now let's have a look at our prompt. First, I just want to give a shout out to David Shapiro, who runs a YouTube channel. He also runs a very nice GitHub if you're interested in GPT-3. He has open sourced a lot of his code, so I have used some of his code here because it's very convenient and it's very good. So definitely check him out if you're interested in GPT-3 and large language models. So let's start by looking at our prompt, because this is key, right, to get a good output. So the prompt I have created for this model is: imagine a complete and detailed scenario where artificial general intelligence has been reached in place in the year and how this has affected parameter 1 and parameter 2. Write out the entire scenario in great detail. So if we just copy this now and we just go to the OpenAI playground and paste it in here. Zoom in a bit. Okay, maybe like this. And then we can see we have a prompt here, but we also have 4 different variables here. So this is place. So let's say USA. And let's say the year is 2023. This have affected jobs and transportation. So the thing I filled in here is to, so USA, that's the place, this is the year, has affected parameter 1 and parameter 2. The reason I have 4 different variables here is so we can get different training data. I'm going to show you how. So if we run this prompt now, let's just click submit. You can see we get, yeah, it's quite good. So this is more like what we want to get. Like we don't want to get just one sentence. So this is like, if we think of this, this is like one set of synthetic data. So we're gonna run a whole bunch of this. Maybe like to fine tune a model, you need at least 200 inputs. So we need at least 200 text files with this kind of output. So now let's go back to the code. So what I want to show you here is, as you can see, we have 4 different types of variables here, like we have a look at. So that means that if we go back to the code here, you can see we have 4 different places. We have 4 different years. We have 4 different parameters 1 and 4 different parameters 2. So that means that we could, with this code, create 256 different types of synthetic data. So it's 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So that is something you have to think about if you want to run a script like this, because if you only have 1 different or 2 different variables, then you need a whole lot of them to be able to create 200 sets of synthetic data. And that is why the more variables you have, so 4, then it's quite easy. Then you only need 4 different in each category. And I think it's, the code is good, but I think it's easier to just see how this works in when we just run it. Of course, the settings on the engine is set to, the temperature is set to 1 because we want to create, we want the engine to be more creative. So we always set this to 1 here. It wants to be, don't be too deterministic. We can also see we have an if count here. If it has created more than 500, it's gonna stop. But this is not gonna create more than 256 anyway. We have an out prompt. I'm gonna show you that when we start the script. So I think that is it for the prompt. Now let's just, we're just gonna run this, and as we go you can see how the data is created. Now we are in the terminal and we're just gonna run this script. I think this is an easy way to understand how this works, because you can see it. Like, the first thing the script does is, imagine a detailed scenario where artificial intelligence has reached in America, and it just runs this prompt. But this is what I wanted to show you. Here we get this, I would call it like an out prompt or a summary. So for this prompt, the parameters are, the year is 2025, the place is America, the parameter 1 is people and food. And then we get this scenario back. In the year 2025, AGI has been reached in America. This caused a major shift in the way that people live and work. Food has become a major concern for many people. You see, this is quite short, so I would say this is a bad set of data. And again, we can see here, this is year 2025, place is America, people, technology. This looks a bit better. You can see it's longer and it's more detailed. The implications of AGI are far-reaching and potentially very disruptive. For one, the labor markets will drastically differ, and many jobs are currently done by human beings will now be able to be done by machines. This could lead to mass unemployment and social unrest. So you see, it comes up with whole different kinds of scenarios here. But that is what we want. So as this runs now, we can see very different types of data sets. So here it made a list. That's a bit strange. And so we're just gonna let this run now to create, let's say, if we let it run all the way, it's gonna create 256 different types of data. So now we are in the year 2028. We are still in America, people, transportation. So it's gonna run all the different parameters we have set. Okay, so this looks like a good one. AGI has also had a profound impact on the economy, increased productivity and efficiency. So yeah, you get the point. So I'm gonna let this run for a while now, so we have enough data to start our fine-tuning job. Okay, so I had the script run for a while. I think we have enough data now. If we go and look at, let's have a look at one of the logs, and the one we made now. Let's just pick a random one. So this was, imagine a complete and detailed scenario where AGI has been reached in America in the year 2028. How this has affected society and transportation. Write out entire scenario in great detail. Oops, sorry. Hope you can see this. And so it came back with, in 2028, AGI has been reached, and the first AGI system is deployed in a major city. The AGI system is able to learn and understand any task that is given, and can think and reason like a human. This new technology is quickly adopted by businesses and the government, and AGI quickly becomes a part of everyday life. Transportation industry mentions that, self-driving cars. It also mentioned a major shift in the workforce. Many jobs were human are now done by AGI systems. The government provides financial assistance to those who have lost their jobs. Okay, and develop new careers in fields such as AGI research and development. So this was quite, the sentiment here was, I guess, very positive. And so I would say this is a good piece of synthetic data. Now let's just look at how many. So you can see here we have 243 different types of data. So the next thing I wanted to show you is how we can augment this now, because we want to remove the bad examples and keep the good ones, because that is important when we are gonna do some fine tuning. So a very easy way to augment this data, actually I saw this in one of David Shapiro's videos, is to just sort it by size, because that is a good indicator of how detailed the output is. But of course, if you wanted like a perfect fine-tuned model, you will actually go in and manually edit each piece of data. So if we just sort it by size now, so let's look at the one that is, see, this piece, it's just 4 different sentences. It's 3 sentences. So I would rate this like a grade 1. That is the worst kind of, we don't want this in our model. So let's have a look at one of the bigger size the data we have. Say this one. Look at how much more detailed this is. So this is the type of, this is like a prime piece of data we want to use for our model. It has a lot of detail. It has a structured format. So I would rate this, if I had to, like a grade 5. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna sort this by size. So we got the smallest ones on top. We gotta remember, we need at least 200 different types. So we're just gonna start deleting. So let's just remove these. We need to remove a few more. 206. So let's remove 4 more. Now we have 202 different types. So that is, I would say we need 2 extra. So let's check this one out. This is a bit better than the one we gave grade 1. Maybe this is a grade 2 or 3. So this is our data set that is ready for fine-tuning. But now we got to do one more thing, and that is to match this with the prompt it had. So we're gonna look at a script that David Shapiro has created, and it's very easy to match up this when we're gonna prepare our JSON file for fine-tuning. To create our JSON file, we have to have both the prompt and the completion. So this script I have borrowed from David Shapiro's open source does this very well. It's super fast to get this lined up. So what this is basically gonna do is line up the completions with the input prompts or the prompts. So let's have a look at the prompt here. So this is one type of prompt. We have the year, we have the place, we have the people, we have the food. And this is gonna line up with the completion. So you can see this script searches 2 directories and picks up the completion, picks up the text files and match them up. So we are gonna run this now, and then we're gonna have a look inside the JSON file to see how these 2 matched up. I hope this makes sense. So this script actually should be very quick if we just run this now. See, now it's complete. We can just exit the terminal and go to our folder. And see, we have this AGI scenarios to JSON L. So just edit this with Notepad. I think we can keep it like this. So now we can see here. Let's just change this to JSON. So you can see prompt. The year is 2025. The place is America. Type of environment. Type of food. And the scenario. And the scenario is the completion, right? So now these have matched up. You can see it's 2025 in the prompt. It's 2025 in the completion. We have the environment in the prompt and in the completion. We have food in the prompt and in the completion. So this is actually going to be our the JSON file we're going to send in. So we need at least, so this is one chunk of you can see the line here is number 2. So this is one chunk. So we need 200 of these to train our model. So if we go down here now, we have 202. So every dataset has been included with one prompt and one completion. So when we get our model back now, we can use this kind of format to create this kind of completion. So that is the idea. We're gonna have a look at that. So now this is ready to be uploaded for fine tuning. The last step is just to send in our JSON file to OpenAI so that they could create a fine-tuned model. We have this very good script again from David Shapiro that makes this very easy. So all we gotta do here is I'm gonna leave a link, of course, to the GitHub so you can download this. And so all we gotta do here is replace this file, this JSON file, with our file. So our file was AGI scenarios 2, and we gotta give our model a name here. So let's just call it AGI scenarios 2 model, and it's the Da Vinci, of course. So if I go to the terminal now and run this script, this is gonna be uploaded to OpenAI, and I don't know how long it takes. It could differ in time, but finally we're gonna get our model back again. I'm not gonna do this now because I already have fine-tuned this model. So next we are just gonna have a look at the final model. So there is also one thing you gotta remember, that this is not free. This costs, I would say, to fine-tune this model, it cost me, I would say, $10, about that. This depends on how much data you are sending in. If you are sending in, let's say I put in 200 sets of data now, that cost me $10. Said you five-folded that, you put in 1,000 sets, then maybe you could expect that it's $50. I haven't done that much, so I'm not sure. So after you have uploaded your file, every model is gonna appear in your playground, in your personal space here. So when you scroll down, you should find something called fine tunes. So if we look here, we have DaVinci Personal AGI Scene Generator. I actually created two. This is a different kind of fine-tune model, but I forgot to change the name. So what you want to do is just choose this one. Unfortunately, you can't use this model, so it's only, you can't share a fine-tuned model, so you are the only one that can choose this. So if you view code here, you can see the model is specific to your account. Okay, we have selected our model. So what we're gonna do now is remember, what kind of prompts did we use? So we want to copy this and just paste it. So remember, this model has been trained on this type of format, but now we can actually put in parameters that it's never been trained on. So let's just pick a different year. Let's pick 2022. That was not in the model. Let's pick a different place. Let's just say France. I don't think that was in the model. So how has AGI affected let's say housing market and animal welfare? So it has not been trained on these types of parameters. So what we want now is the model to use the training data and create a scenario based on these parameters. So let's turn this up to 0.9. The length is okay. So ideally we wanted to have like a stop sequence in the data set, so it stopped when it reached a certain point. We don't have this now, so I might just stop it so it doesn't go on and on if it tries to do that. So let's just see what we get now. Yeah, you can see here it starts to repeat itself. So ideally we wanted to have like a stop sequence here. Let's say end. So we could just do end here. So it would stop here when it reached here. So it doesn't repeat itself. That happens when the fine-tuned model doesn't have enough data sets. Said we gave it minimum, right, of 200. But if we gave it 2000, I don't think this would happen. Anyway, let's just have a read from the results here. In 2022, that's good. Has been reached in France. Profound impact on the housing market and animal welfare. The housing market has been transformed by AGI. Homes are now built by robots and they are much more efficient and space-saving than before. This has made homes more affordable and freed up a lot of space in the cities. Okay, I guess that's good. down a bit. AGI has also made it possible for dog owners to have their dogs talking to them, okay? Giving them commands and advice. This has made dog ownership much more popular, and there are now more dogs in France than before. Animal welfare has been greatly improved by AGI. Animals are now able to communicate with their owners, okay? This has made them more useful and be trained much more easily. Decreased in number of the animals being used for food and products. Ooh. Okay, so here it started to repeat itself. So I guess this is okay. We kind of wanted a bit more, but since we put in such a low amount of data, you can't really expect perfect performance. But I'm happy with this. It was quite fun, actually. So yeah, that is how you actually use your model. So let's just do a quick recap before we end this. I just want to emphasize on how important the data sets that you train your model on is. If you look at the documentation here from OpenAI best practices, it says fine-tuning performs better with more quality, high quality examples. To fine-tune a model that performs better than using high-quality prompts with our base model, you should provide at least a few hundred high-quality examples, ideally vetted by human experts. So we didn't do that now. We just created synthetic data and we just augmented that based on size. But if you really wanted like a perfect model, you would make a lot of more data. And it says from there, performance tend to linearly increase with every doubling of the numbers of examples. Increasing the number of examples is usually the best and most reliable way to improve performance. So we just gave it the minimum now, and we can see that the model wasn't perfect. But if we did actually go into every data set and manually edited and formatted exactly the way we wanted, and let's say we double the amount, I think we would get a pretty good model. But it takes a lot of time. So, but what I love about synthetic data is, of course, how much time you save. It's not perfect, but you save a lot of time. But if this was going to be used, let's say, by a company or like a commercial thing, you really want to focus on the quality of your data. Of course, the prompts matter too, but the data is the golden nugget. So I hope that was not too much information. I know if you were a beginner or this was your first time hearing about large language models or GPT-3, maybe it was a bit too much, but you can start by watching one of these videos for beginners so you can learn the practical benefits of large language models. So anyway, I hope you learned something and thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.